Am I the antagonist for not letting my autistic brother's tantrums affect my life? I'm a 15-year-old girl with a brother who is 16 years old and autistic. Despite being a year older, my brother was held back, so we are in the same grade. Since I was a young child, I have often felt like I am not important to my parents, and that they only had me so my brother would have a companion. To clarify, I am not neglected or abused, but my parents expect me to center my entire life around my brother. When I was younger, they would always make me do what my brother wanted because we had to do everything together. For example, if I wanted to learn piano and he wanted to do karate, I had to do karate as well. Even when my friends invited me for playdates, I could only go if my brother could come along. Initially, when I was very young, my parents would essentially force other parents to accommodate my brother. But as I grew older, I stopped going anywhere because I didn't want to bring my brother with me. It became even more difficult when we moved in 6th grade because my brother was always by my side, making it almost impossible for me to make new friends. Middle school was particularly challenging as 7th grade was online, and my brother constantly stuck to me in 8th grade. Once we reached high school, I simply stopped caring about my parents' expectations and began doing what I wanted. My act of rebellion mostly consisted of joining leadership positions and various clubs. I gained many new friends and started spending time with them. Although my parents clearly expressed their disapproval, they couldn't prevent me from engaging in activities without my brother. I genuinely care for my brother, but having to share my entire life with him as a child has resulted in deep resentment. He has no friends and spends most of his time alone in his room. Whenever I go out with my friends or attend extracurricular events, he throws intense tantrums. I feel sympathy for him, but I am tired of being his constant and unwilling companion, and I feel powerless to help him. My parents always side with my brother and attempt to make me feel guilty for living my own life. Our most recent conflict revolves around homecoming. I have been chosen as a princess, and I am thrilled because I couldn't attend last year due to illness. My brother asked a girl to go with him, but she rejected him, resulting in his sadness and his desire for me to not attend homecoming as well. Today there was a picnic to kick off homecoming week, and he chose not to attend. However, when I returned, he threw a massive tantrum and continued crying for hours because he doesn't want me to go to homecoming. My parents asked if I could just skip homecoming, but I told them that I don't care if my brother dislikes it and that he shouldn't have control over my entire life. They mentioned that his mental health is suffering due to his lack of friends and average academic performance, and they believe that watching me have fun and succeed in school is not helpful. In response, I told them that his mental health is not my responsibility, and I'm going to homecoming whether they approve or not. As of now, my brother is still crying in his room and didn't join us for dinner. Am I the asshole in this situation? Not the antagonist. It's understandable that you feel this way. It seems like your parents have prioritized your brother's needs and wants over yours for a long time. It's not fair for them to expect you to build your entire life around your brother and give up your own individuality and goals. It's important to have your own interests, friends, and experiences separate from your brother. You have a right to pursue your own happiness and live your life without feeling guilty about it. While it's unfortunate that your brother is struggling, it is not your responsibility to sacrifice your own happiness for him. It's crucial for your parents to seek appropriate support and help for him, rather than relying solely on you to be his companion and therapist. Stand your ground and continue doing what makes you happy. You deserve to have your own life and pursue your own dreams. Am I the antagonist for not letting my husband stay in an Airbnb with his female employees? My husband, 39 years old, has a successful online business. He attends a marketing convention every year, which is only 15 minutes away from our home. This year, he's flying in his 7 remote staff members to attend the conference with him. A few months ago, he asked me if it would be all right for him and his staff to stay in an Airbnb instead of our house during the convention. I said that it would be fine as long as there were no women staying in the house. Later that evening, he mentioned that some of his staff members were women, so I said no. We didn't discuss it further, but a few months later he told me that he had planned to spend the night at the Airbnb and claimed that he had already informed me. I told him that I didn't remember him telling me because I would have expressed my discomfort with it again. The main reason I'm uncomfortable is that I believe it is legally risky for him to stay at an Airbnb with female employees, especially those who are unmarried and in their mid-20s. The Airbnb is just 20 minutes away from our own house, so he is able to spend time with them as long as he wants. But I just request that he comes home to sleep. So the team arrives. Everything seems to be going well. My husband and his team are attending the conference together, spending time together until late in the evening and then coming home to sleep. However, a couple of nights before the scheduled outing, I receive a message on Facebook from one of his employees, who is female, asking if I would spend the night at the Airbnb the night before the outing. In the morning, my husband confesses that he told his employees that I wasn't comfortable with him spending the night and suggested that she should message me to convince me otherwise. I was extremely angry because he threw me under the bus without even mentioning the legal concerns. I also saw this as a breach of privacy and trust between a husband and wife. I responded to her message politely, explaining my reasons, and she replied saying she hadn't considered it that way and understood. Apparently, the next morning, she read my message out loud in the car in front of everyone, including my husband. It was somewhat relieving that everyone now knew the reason, but it was also quite awkward for everyone involved. Today is the day of the VIP event. I rearranged my entire schedule to be able to attend it, but now I feel that the whole situation is so awkward. My husband is very apologetic about everything and really wants me to go to the VIP event today. I know he wants me there because he wants to be with me, but a part of me also knows that if I don't show up, it will only add fuel to the gossip fire among his employees. I just don't want to be the subject of their jokes. Am I in the wrong in any of this situation? Am I overreacting? Not the antagonist. You expressed your discomfort with the idea of your husband staying in an Airbnb with female employees due to potential legal and harassment issues. You made your concerns clear and your husband agreed to come home to sleep. However, your husband threw you under the bus by telling his employees about your discomfort without explaining the legal reasons behind it. This breach in trust and privacy is not okay. You handled the situation well by responding politely to the employee's message and providing a logical explanation for your discomfort. It's unfortunate that she shared your message with everyone, but it's good that the reason is now known among all involved. It's understandable that you feel awkward and don't want to be the subject of gossip. It's up to you whether or not you want to attend the VIP event, but your husband should understand and respect your decision either way. Overall, your concerns are valid and your reaction is justified. Your husband should have communicated better and respected your boundaries. Am I the antagonist for not saving my GF's driver's license and refusing to drive her to and from work? My girlfriend, 26 years old, is consistently late, regardless of the situation. It doesn't matter if we're just going up the road or catching a flight. To clarify, she does not have autism, ADHD, or time blindness. The problem is that she takes her sweet time with everything. Every morning, she hits the snooze button on her alarm at least 3 times before spending time on her phone, browsing social media. Eventually, she gets up and takes a long shower. Getting dressed is another lengthy process, often leaving her wrapped in a towel while still scrolling through her phone. Then she takes her time enjoying her coffee. Most days she ends up being late for work and has to rush there, resulting in numerous speeding tickets. I've tried to assist her in being punctual by putting her phone out of reach from the bed, but she simply grabs it and goes back to sleep. When I ask her to hurry up, she becomes stubborn and takes even longer. Her response to criticism about her tardiness is better late than dead on time. Recently, she was running even later than usual for work and had to speed to make it. As expected, a week later, she received a substantial speeding fine in the mail. She now has to surrender her driver's license due to accumulating too many demerit points, which means she won't have a license for 6 months. Rather than accepting the consequences, she asked me to take the blame for the speeding ticket, pretending that I was driving so she wouldn't lose her license. I firmly refused, telling her that she needs to face the consequences of her actions and consider driving slower and waking up earlier. This argument continued for a few days until she finally admitted defeat. However, she then insisted that I drive her to and from work each day until she gets her license back. I declined, explaining that her workplace is in the opposite direction from mine, and it would add an additional 2 hours of driving to my daily routine. She argued that it shouldn't matter since my work has flexible hours, but I stood my ground and refused. I suggested she take public transportation since there is a bus stop just 2 minutes away from our house, and the bus stop near her work is a quick 5-minute walk away. She expressed her hatred for public transportation and refused to use it. I then suggested she use Uber or organize a carpool, but I made it clear that it was not my responsibility. In response, she called me an asshole and started giving me the silent treatment. She believes that a good boyfriend would go to great lengths to help her and claims that it's only for 6 months. Am I the asshole for refusing to take the blame and declining to drive her to and from work for 6 months? Not the antagonist. Your girlfriend has consistently shown a lack of responsibility and accountability for her actions. It's not your responsibility to cover for her mistakes or inconvenience yourself to accommodate her. She needs to learn to manage her time better and face the consequences of her actions. You offered reasonable alternatives like public transport or Uber, but she refused to take them. Standing your ground is the right thing to do in this situation. Am I the antagonist for not wanting to invite my atheist niece to my son's bar mitzvah? To provide some background, I have 3 children: a 12-year-old boy, a 9-year-old boy, and a 6-year-old girl. Additionally, my 17-year-old stepson moved in with us when he began high school. While I am Jewish, my husband was raised as a Jehovah's Witness but now identifies as agnostic. Our stepson is also agnostic. Despite this, we are raising our 3 children in the Jewish faith. My husband and his sisters have a complex relationship with religion. They were raised as Jehovah's Witnesses until my husband was 11. Unfortunately, his mother passed away a few years prior, and his father eventually left the church. Consequently, they started attending a non-denominational Christian church. My husband's younger sister, whom I will refer to as Kayla, is the mother of a 15-year-old daughter. Kayla is an amazing individual who cares deeply about social justice issues and aspires to be a civil rights attorney. She consistently strives to educate others on various matters. We have had enlightening conversations about race, as my husband and his family are Black, and about sexuality, as she identifies as pansexual. Nonetheless, religion remains a significant point of contention. Kayla has openly expressed her displeasure with my decision to raise our younger children with religion and to include our stepson in our celebrations, despite his differing beliefs. It is worth noting that our family also observes traditional Christian holidays, such as Christmas, as my husband and stepson have a particular fondness for them. After I sent out invitations to my son's bar mitzvah, Kayla made a social media post denouncing religion as a form of child manipulation and expressed her anticipation for the eradication of religious beliefs. Upon addressing this matter with her, she responded with another post, suggesting that religious individuals seek to silence others and proclaiming her determination to never remain silent in the face of oppression. Subsequently, I confided in my husband and our closest friends about my reservations regarding Kayla's attendance at a religious celebration, as it is evident that she lacks respect for religion. However, my husband expressed his disappointment with my decision to exclude her. At present, I have not confronted Kayla directly about this issue. Would it be inappropriate for me to do so, or would I be justified in expressing my concerns? Based on the information provided, it seems like the poster may not be the asshole for considering excluding Kayla from the religious celebration. While everyone is entitled to their own beliefs and opinions, Kayla's disrespectful and inflammatory posts on social media suggest that she may not be able to keep her opinions to herself during the religious ceremony, which could potentially create a tense and uncomfortable environment for everyone involved. It is reasonable for the poster to want the bar mitzvah to be a positive and meaningful experience for their family, especially for their son, and not have it overshadowed by religious debates or conflicts. However, it is important for the poster to handle the situation with sensitivity and have an open conversation with Kayla, explaining their concerns and expectations rather than simply excluding her without an explanation. Am I the antagonist for planning on getting married before my twin sister? I've seen a few posts about similar wedding situations, but none involving twins, so I wanted to ask for advice. Recently, my fiancé surprised me with a proposal during our trip to Iceland in September 2023. I happily said yes, and we immediately began discussing our wedding plans. It's important to note that my twin sister messaged me with a seemingly random date in August 2024 while I was on vacation. When I asked her about it, she simply replied, "My wedding." This conversation happened before my fiancé proposed. After our trip, we had a family dinner at my parents' house, attended by relatives, my twin sister and her fiancé. She got engaged in September 2022. During dinner, everyone was curious about our wedding date, so we honestly answered maybe July 2024. Before we gave our response, I jokingly said August 1st, 2024, which made everyone laugh, including her fiancé. I clarified afterwards that it was a joke to ensure everyone knew I wasn't serious. Interestingly, my fiancé independently chose the time of year for our wedding. When he explained his reasons, I agreed that we could consider July. Later that week, I had a phone call with my twin sister, and she brought up the joke date, asking if we were serious. I explained that it was just a joke. She then asked if we were serious about July, to which I said yes. She told me that my fiancé and I were being disrespectful, and she expected an apology from him for choosing the same time of year as her because she already had a confirmed date in August. I explained that we had no intentions of hurting her feelings or being malicious by selecting that time of year. However, she didn't seem to care. The call ended after she mentioned that she couldn't express her feelings properly and that she would contact me later. However, she never reached out, so I waited until the next day to call and talk to her. I asked if she had found the right words to help me understand her feelings. She responded by saying that she didn't need to explain anything because she had already told me she felt disrespected. The call quickly devolved into her screaming and yelling at me. She requested that I refrain from discussing wedding-related matters with her until we have a confirmed date, venue, and deposit paid. From what I gathered, she doesn't want me to get married before her, even if it's just by a month. Aside from that, it has been difficult for her to clearly communicate her exact feelings or the meaning behind her previous statements. Other conversations took place between the dinner and our last phone call, but I believe I have covered the most important information. One of the reasons my fiancé chose that time of year is because of a family member's health. I didn't share this information with my sister because I didn't think it was my place to do so. However, my fiancé has since had a conversation with her fiancé and disclosed the situation. Not the antagonist. Your twin sister is being unreasonable and demanding. It is not fair for her to expect everyone to put their lives on hold just because she has a wedding date in mind. You mentioned that the date you mentioned as a joke was clarified to not be serious, and your sister's reaction seems excessive and dramatic. Furthermore, your fiancé had valid reasons for choosing the July timeframe, and it is not your responsibility to disclose personal information about your family member's health to your sister. It was kind of him to have that conversation with her fiancé, but it was not necessary for you to do it. Your sister's request to not talk to her about wedding-related things until you have a set date and venue with a deposit is also unfair. Planning a wedding takes time, and it is normal to discuss ideas and possibilities before making concrete decisions. Your sister's strong reaction and refusal to communicate clearly make it difficult for you to understand her perspective fully. However, based on the information provided, it seems like she is being unreasonable and self-centered in her expectations. Am I the antagonist for refusing my sister's offer to pay for the gender reveal scan? My girlfriend and I discovered in August that we were going to have our first child. Overall, everyone was thrilled with the news. However, since it was unplanned, I was initially shocked and turned to my mother for reassurance, which she provided. She wasn't pleased that I informed her over a phone call, and I understand that I was in the wrong. I apologized and we moved past it. My sister has been supportive throughout this process. She helped us move to a new house and offered to take my partner out for baby shopping in a few weeks. On the other hand, my mother was less helpful. We had a video call in mid-August to discuss housing options when she randomly questioned whether my partner was taking birth control pills. I assured her that she was, and my mother seemed to insinuate that I had trapped my partner into getting pregnant. I have concerns about my sister's behavior. While I appreciate her excitement, I sometimes feel that she is too involved. She mentioned having the baby stay with her every weekend so that my partner and I could have alone time as a couple. I explained that we have to consider both of our families and their involvement. She also expressed worries about us moving closer to my girlfriend's family rather than mine. She suggested that I wouldn't receive as much support from her family and questioned the support from my partner's family since her mother lives 2 hours away. I informed her that my partner's mother visits every weekend to care for her mother with dementia, so we will be fine. My sister offered to pay for our gender reveal scan, which we appreciated and accepted. Naturally, she wanted to be present since she was funding it. She suggested that we invite my mother as well. I then suggested inviting my girlfriend's mother since it would be fair and equal. However, my sister disagreed because she believed my family should be the only ones involved during the pregnancy, and my girlfriend's family could be present at other events. We explained that it's not about excluding anyone. It's about having support during a personal appointment, and my girlfriend didn't want only my family there. Previously, my mother had said it's either only my family or no scan at all. In response, we offered to pay for the scan ourselves. My sister then messaged my girlfriend to explain her reasoning, which left her in tears. My sister also mentioned that my family prefers to keep things separate and can be a bit antisocial. They believe that meeting my girlfriend's mother at the scan would be awkward. We believe this reasoning is selfish and doesn't prioritize our preferences. My mother and sister are trying to make me understand their point of view. While I do understand it, I don't agree. My girlfriend's mother isn't bothered by their lack of interest in her presence. She's more concerned about how it has affected us. She told me not to worry about them and comforted me. She said she's happy to pay for the scan and for me to invite whoever I want. I am posting this here because, despite many agreements on our side, I have doubts since my sister was initially going to pay for the scan. Additionally, I was considering inviting my father, but my girlfriend's mother believes that would upset my family. Am I the asshole? Based on the information provided, it seems like you are not the asshole in this situation. You have been reasonable in wanting to include both sets of parents during the gender reveal scan. It is understandable that your sister, who is paying for the scan, wants to have a say in who attends. But ultimately, it should be your decision as the expecting parents. Your mother's insinuation that your partner may have baby-trapped you is inappropriate and unnecessary. It is also unfair for your family to expect that the scan should only include your side of the family. Both sets of parents should be given equal opportunity to be involved in this special moment. It is important to prioritize the wishes and feelings of your partner, as she is the one who should feel comfortable and supported during this process. Your girlfriend's mother has shown support and understanding by offering to pay for the scan and being open to inviting whoever you want. It would be best to consider her feelings and prioritize making this experience inclusive and supportive for both families. Overall, it is important to have open communication with your family and set boundaries when it comes to involving both sets of parents. It may be necessary to have a calm and understanding conversation with your mother and sister to explain your perspective and ensure that their actions and expectations align with what you and your partner desire. Thanks for watching. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications so you never miss a video. To finish listening to all the stories, check out the playlist in the description.